Y bueno, tenemos aquí stores, tiendas. Estamos en una zona, eso ya es un college, una universidad. Entonces estamos viendo cómo es la vida cotidiana aquí. Hay estudiantes, profesores, padres, mucho movimiento americano. En este momento estamos viendo una vida cotidiana de esta parte de San Agustín. Y aquí tenemos un castillo, voy a ver qué es, voy a leerles qué es. Recuerden dejar abajo en los comentarios si saben algo de San Agustín o qué lugar visito o si les está gustando pues el video hasta ahora. Ahí en los comentarios, dale like. Y si usted está viendo y no se ha suscrito, pues suscríbase. Suscríbase porque vamos a estar haciendo muchas más cosas aquí en Halo Bien y para que vea los eventos, para que vea nuestro personal, para que vea nuestros integrantes. En estos momentos, Halo Bien abre lazos y se extiende around the world, alrededor del mundo. Y vamos a estar creando contenido para todos ustedes. City of the... Ah, se llama la ciudad de San Agustín. Mire San Agustín, ese es San Agustín. City of the Sir San Agustín. San Agustín. Miren como tienen esto acá, miren qué belleza, qué lindura. Estamos en un mero palacio, no cerrado, sino abierto. La gente puede venir, puede parcharse, conocer lo lindo, turistear. Ya viene una niña bien bonita, una monita bien linda, los papers. Bueno, en sí, como les decía, vamos a, vamos a estar grabando. Comenten abajo, denle like y recuerden que vamos a estar por todo esto haciendo unos videitos bien chéveres para todos ustedes. No tengo equipos profesionales, no tengo micrófono para mejorar el audio, pero ahí grabamos para que a todos ustedes les guste. ¿Listo? No tenemos un micrófono, pero vamos a ver qué hacemos. Yo ando con unos audífonos que tienen unos micrófonos directos, unos audífonos profesionales que tienen un micrófono directo, y ahí el audio se sale mejor, pero yo no lo traje ahorita para no encartarme, porque es que son muy grandes, pero lo hubiera traído porque este tour sí está muy, muy bueno. Pero igual, aquí trato de hablar duro, para eso somos profesionales, tenemos nuestro título, somos locutores, comunicadores sociales, artistas, y para eso somos profesionales y estudiamos y trato de hacer lo mejor posible con lo que tengo en el momento. Entonces, ahí vamos, mira, Casa Mónica. Todo esto que estamos observando es totalmente colonial histórico, hecho por los ingleses y también por las personas que quedaron aquí en la independencia de los Estados Unidos. Pero tiene un estilo muy europeo porque aquí se daban las batallas de los ingleses con los españoles, peleándose estas tierras. Recuerde que los estadounidenses vienen de los ingleses y hay una historia que ya la vimos ahorita. Los verdaderos americanos es una mezcla entre afrodescendiente, nativo americano, que es el de aquí, el indígena, el indio, y el inglés, los ingleses, los británicos. Ese es el verdadero americano, ¿sí? No solo los blancos, no solo los indígenas, no solo los afrodescendientes. No, el americano es una mezcla entre esos tres. Y ellos tres se unieron para independizarse y crear Estados Unidos y ponerle fin a las batallas de España con Inglaterra y los británicos peleándose estas tierras. Entonces, obviamente estamos viendo todo este panorama, mire qué lindo. Entonces, como les decía, voy a grabar lo mejor posible, no tengo micrófono, vamos a ver qué puede pasar. Tampoco tengo un equipo profesional en este momento, tengo mi celular vivo Y21 y vamos a hacer lo mejor posible. El Alcázar. Esto ahora es un hotel, dice Alcázar Hotel. Ah, o sea que esto ahora es un hotel. Ok, o antes fue un hotel. Ah, sí, parece que antes fue un hotel. Bueno,
She actually is going to be turning 102 in just about 3 or 4 months. That's pretty cool. She was very good friends with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They were such good friends that she has a signed family Bible by him. And when Potter's Wax Museum was making the wax figurine of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., they asked for her approval. She said no because it wasn't quite right. When they got it just right, they say she hugged the figurine and then she cried. Everybody go, aww. Come on, everybody say aww. This is very quiet. We're going to have to work on that. As we head down here, I'll play for you part of one of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches at St. Augustine.
I had a chance to talk with many people, some of whom are considered some of the very outstanding leaders and people of our nation. I believe that I was uttering when I said to them that the Negroes of St. Augustine, Florida, and those that have come in from other communities and their allies in the white community are determined to march the streets of this city until the walls of segregation come tumbling down.
Ladies and gentlemen, please do remember as a courtesy to all of our guests that our conversations, including our cell phone conversations, should be kept to a minimum, please. A whisper if you must, so that everybody around us is able to hear and enjoy the tour that we paid for. If there is someone in front of you, behind you, left or right of you who might not get it, you can tap them on the shoulder and say, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing, and just let them know what's going on. Our stop number 11 over here on the right-hand side is the Lincolnville Museum and Cultural Center, with the history of this building going back to 1513 with Juan Garribo, the very first free African man to arrive here with Ponce de Leon. You can find inside a ton of St. Augustine civil rights history, including the countertops for the local woolworths. If you'd like to exit here, they do have a really awesome tour. If you're exiting to the right-hand side, exit backwards like you're backing down a ladder. Watch your step and watch your head. Hi, ladies. Do we have on TV? You can just go right here, right here. Just because the other side is traffic. I wish I had a scanner installed in my eyeball. So everyone gets to hear and enjoy. This road is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. It is actually one of only 2 streets in the whole world that is both named after him, that he also marched on. Yes, worldwide there are over 1,000 different streets that are named after him. However, there are only 2 that he has marched on as well as has been named on. The one here in St. Augustine, the other one happens to be in Atlanta, Georgia. So if you visit them, they've got some beautiful murals down there. Along this road here, we also have several different Freedom Trail markers. If you're interested in following the Freedom Trail, you can go to the Accord Civil Rights Museum, or you can visit our St. Augustine Lincolnville Museum and Cultural Center. They should have a map. Make sure if you're going to walk it, you definitely have walking shoes on, or you can take one of those little moped thingamabobbers. Those are a lot of fun. As we head down this next road here, I do have to go quiet to be respectful to the homeowners, but we're going to pass by the St. Cyprian's Episcopal Church over here on the left-hand side, which is the oldest Episcopal in Lincolnville, the history going back to 1890. Our quiet time starts now. Just real quick. On your left is a park. I'll tell you more when we are at the quiet zone. a wide brim hat with an embroidered phrase on the brim that said "Freedom Now." She wore the hat to protect herself from too much sun exposure. As time passed, Mrs. Catherine Twine wound up becoming quite famous for this hat. It wound up in local and national papers. People across the country would join her, wearing similar hats with a similar phrase upon it. But as time passed, unfortunately, Mrs. Catherine Twine did fade from the limelight. Although she was very well remembered here in St. Augustine, she passed away in 2011. Mr. Henry Twine, her husband, she married. He was the head of the NAACP from the early 60s to the early 70s. He was also the very first African American in our city to have been elected as deputy mayor. He passed away in 2016. Coming up on your left, you'll see our power plant over here, tucked away. The power plant and the ice plant in front of us on the left, they were good friends. They worked together very well. A byproduct from the generators in those early days was actually distilled water. So they take that distilled water to the ice plant. They would use it to make a block of ice. Chemical processes often involve nitrogen gas and a bit of, refrigeration. In a pressurized chamber. They made a block of ice. They placed it into a box truck like this one on your right. They ship it to your house, place that block of ice in your ice box, keep it nice and chilly. These days it's a restaurant with a vintage bar attached. They have a fantastic menu. Everything is made fresh daily. If you're going to stop on by and get yourself a little bite to eat, you have a really lovely menu inside. But it is a seasonal one, so I can't recommend anything because I haven't been back for 8 months. But if you'll bring me something, I can recommend what you brought me. I'll take a doggy bag. Anything, please. They're free tasting over there. Includes 4 signature cocktails with their 4 signature spirits: gin, rum, whiskey, and vodka. Exiting on the left for some free booze. To the left. Watch your step. Exit sideways and backwards. Stand up, touch out, step down. For the wine tasting, that's our next stop. So if you want to go get
Desde
some
la
booze,
época
then
ha
wine.
sido un
Then you're
lugar
liquor, then wine, you'll be fine.
donde hacían vodka, whisky, ron.
That's what I hear.
Hasta ahora
I'm
continúa
not much of a
como
drinker
fábrica de
myself.
licor.
Wow, usually get at least one person who wants to go in for a drink. Price was less expensive, gave jobs to our locals, would keep money in St. Augustine. Thereby, it would have boosted our local economy. Now, speaking of the local economy, coming up in front of us on the left, there's a big building over there with some eyebrows over the windows and some stars on the side of it. That building in front of us is the Soya Carcava Cigar Factory. They were from 1909 until 1917 the number 2 employer here in town. They were also the number 1 employer of ladies. Gonna get a big woo for those ladies. Alright, ladies, we were employed there more frequently because the owners believed we had smaller, therefore more dexterous fingers to roll cigars. There was a problem with those ladies, unfortunately. It was a 12-hour shift. And for 12 hours, the ladies would roll cigars and talk, and roll cigars and talk. And the owners believed that this was causing a bit of an interruption. So they hired some gentlemen to entertain those ladies. That's right, ladies. We had some male entertainment. Can I get a big woohoo? Woohoo! Don't worry, it was all PG. The gentlemen read magazines and newspapers and books. And the ladies produced 5 million cigars over the course of 12 months until someone signed a contract. Our ladies could not fulfill. And in 1917, the Soya Carcava tragically shut down. Boo-hoo. No more male entertainment. It was a very sad day. On a lighter note, our stop number 13 coming up is the San Sebastian Winery. They have sweet, dry, and brandy fortified wines. Their wine tasting is free. If you want to go get yourself a little bite to eat with these guys, they do have a restaurant upstairs called La Cocina at the cellar upstairs. If you're going to go get yourself a bite to eat, it's great food. The balcony seating is the best. If you're going to stop in for some wine, it's free, unless you want to pay $5 for a little bit of an extension. Exiting sideways or backwards on